yielding to their, love calls. I'm aware that, good looks accompany you, go where you will, but your reception finishes onto them that which your eyes began. And, but at least, madam, tell me, by what good fortune, Clitandre has the pleasure of pleasing you so mightily? Is it by the long nail that he has on his little finger that he has found an entrance into your heart? Or do his great rolls satisfy you? Or is it his lovely German breeches? Or is it his many ribbons? Or is it his manner of smiling and his baritone voice? Are those the ways that he has found the entrance into your heart, madam?
How unjustly you take umbrage at him. You're getting jealous of the whole world.
That is because the whole world is so warmly received by you.
That is the very thing to calm your frightened mind, since my goodwill is diffused over all. You would have more reason to be offended if you saw me occupied with only one.
But as for me, madam, who you are accusing of jealousy, what have I more than any of them, pray, madam?
The happiness of knowing that you are beloved.
But what grounds is my lovesick heart for believing it?
As I have taken the trouble to tell you so, I think that such an avowal ought to satisfy you.
But how can I be sure that you do not, at the same time, say as much to everyone else, perhaps?
Certainly for a lover, this is an amorous speech, and you make me out to be a very nice lady. Well, to remove all suspicion, I retract this moment everything I have just said, and for the future, no one but yourself shall impose upon you. Will that satisfy you?
Zounds! Why do I love you? I make no secret of it. I have tried on so many occasions to tear this unfortunate attachment from my heart, and hitherto all my efforts have been to no avail.
It is true that your affection for me is unequaled.
As for that, madam, I can rival the whole world. Never, madam, has any man loved as I love you.
But your method is entirely new, for you love people only to quarrel with them.
But it lies with you alone to quell this ill humor. Please, madam, just this once, let us be...
What's the matter?
Clitandre is below.
Oh, very well. Do bid him come up.
Clitandre? Madam, can one never have a quiet little moment alone with you? Can you never make up your mind to be not at home?
Do you wish me to quarrel with Clitandre?
You have regard for people who I by no means like.
Where are you going?
I am going.
Stay.
No,
Stay.
I cannot.
I wish it.
I shall not. These conversations only weary me, and it is rude of you to wish me to endure them.
I wish it. I wish it.
No, 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 no.
Very well, go. Be gone. You can do as you like.
The Marquis, ladies and gentlemen.
Bonjour! Bonjour! Ça va? Bonjour! Madame, you are magnificent!
What? What? I want you to have a drink, Marquis.
Absolument.
What? You are not gone?
No, madam. I am determined to have you choose. Either for him or for me.
You are joking.
I am not joking. You shall declare yourself.
You're losing your senses.
I am not
already.
losing my senses, madam. I have been too patient.
Egad! I have just come from the Louvre, where Cléon has made himself very ridiculous. Has he not some friend who can charitably enlighten him upon his manners?
Truth to say, he compromises himself very much in society.
Mon Dieu, talk of absurdities. Just now, one of the most tedious ones has been annoying me. The really he kept me a full hour from my sedan chair.
This beginning isn't bad, and the conversation's taken a sufficiently agreeable turn against our neighbor.
Yes, ma'am. And Tamonte, too, madam, is another original.
Oh, yes. He is a complete mystery from top to toe, who, without having anything to do, is always extremely busy. To interrupt a conversation, he always has a secret to whisper to you, and then that secret turns out to be nothing.
And what about Jerome, madam?
That tiresome storyteller. Rank is his hobby, and his conversation is of nothing but horses and carriages and dogs.
Yes, but it is said he's on the best of terms with Belize.
Poor silly woman, and the dreariest of company. The impossibility of her expressing her thoughts allows the conversation to drop at any moment. In vain, you try to overcome her stupid silence with the most commonplace of topics. The weather, the rain, the heat, the cold are subjects which with her are soon exhausted. You may yawn 20 times, and she stirs no more than a log of wood.
What say you of a trust?
Oh, what excessive pride!
But young Cleone, with whom the most respectable people go to sea, what say you of him?
That it is to his table that people pay their visits, and to his cook that he owes his distinction.
His Uncle Darius is very highly esteemed. What think you of him, madam?
He's a friend of mine.
Oh, yes, I find him to be a perfect gentleman as well, and sensible enough.
Yes, but he pretends too much wit, which annoys me. One sees him laboring to say smart things, with his arms crossed against his breast. He looks down from the height of his intellect, with pity on what everyone else says.
You have an admirable knack for portraying people to the life.
Bravo! Bravo! Go on, my fine courtly friends. You spare no one and let everyone have his turn, and yet let but one of these unfortunate fellows show his face, and you shall rush up to him, offer him your hand, and tell him he is your friend.
Why say this to us, then? Yes. If what is said offends you, yes, then the reproach must be addressed to this lady.
No, gadzooks, it concerns you. For your salacious smiles draw from her mouth these slanderous remarks. No, madam, though I were to die for you, you have attachment to pastimes that I can by no means countenance. And these gentlemen, they are very rude to draw from your mouth the very statements that in other people's company they complain of in you.
Well, as for myself, I do not know. However, I openly acknowledge, yes, that hitherto I have found this lady completely faultless.
The more we love someone, the less we ought to flatter them. True love shows itself by overlooking nothing. And were I a lady, I would banish from my company those mean-spirited lovers who all they do is flatter my every wish and whim.
Oh, I see. And if hearts were ruled by you, we ought, in order to love well, to relinquish all tenderness and to quarrel incessantly with those that we love.
Love, generally speaking, is little apt to put up with these decrees, and lovers are often seen to extol their choices. And they think their faults perfections and invent sweet terms to call them by.
Well, I maintain
Oh,
that every
let's
moment
drop the
of this...
subject and get another drink, shall we? What? Going so soon, Marquis?
Oh, no, madam, no, not at all.
Oh, the threat of his departure troubles you mightily, does it? Well, sir, I shall assure you that I shall not leave until you leave.
Oh, well, provided I am present, yes, when the Prime Minister retires. Prime Minister? I have no other matters to call me away.
You only joke, I fancy.
I am not joking. We shall soon see whether it is me of whom you wish to get rid, madam.
There is a police officer out front who
What?
wishes to speak with you, sir, on matters that cannot be postponed.
Tell him I have no such urgent business.
It is this ridiculous affair between you and Orant.
What?
What do you mean?
He and Orant have been insulting one another just now over some trifling verses which he did not like, and the court wishes to nip the matter in the bud with a summons.
Well, I shall never basely submit.
But you must obey the summons. Come, get ready.
What will they do? Will the edict of these gentlemen require me to like his poem? I will not like his poem. I think it abominable.
But in a little bit milder tone.
No, I will not obey one jot. I think his poem is execrable, and I think a fellow should be hanged for writing such rubbish. Hang it all, sir. I did not think I was so funny.
Go whither you are wanted.
I shall go, madam. But rest assured, I shall be back here later to finish our conversation. Good day.
What? Here still?
Love, man. It detains me.
Ooh, is that a carriage I hear coming over there? Whose is it?
I have no idea.
Arsenaway is coming in to see you.
What does that woman want with me? I never to my fancy met anyone so stupid. And she's impertinent to the last degree. Bonjour! 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 What happy chance brings you here, madam? We were just talking about you. I had come as a matter of duty to give you an advice. Well, how very glad I am to see you. They could not have left in a more convenient opportunity. Shall we get a drink? Oh, no, it's not necessary. Yesterday, I was with some people of rare virtue, where the conversation turned upon you. And there, your conduct, that crowd of people whose visit you permit, which is causing some stir, was unfortunately, madame, far from being commended. I, of course, vouch for the purity of your heart and the honesty of your intentions. But you know, there are some things in this life which one cannot well defend. And I was at last obliged to admit that the way in which you lived did you some harm. That in the eyes of the world it had a doubtful look. Not that I believe that decency is in any way offended. Heaven forbid I should harbor such a thought. But the world is so ready to give credit to even the faintest shadow of a crime. Madame, I believe you to be too sensible not to ascribe this counsel to the inner workings of an affection that holds an interest in your welfare. Madam! I have a great many thanks to return to you. Such counsel lays me under an obligation, and far from taking it amiss, I intend this very moment to repay the favor by giving you an advice. I shall follow so nice an example by informing you what is said of you. In a house the other day where I paid a visit, I met some people of exemplary merit who, when speaking of the proper duties of a well-spent life, turned the topic of the conversation upon you, madame. There, your brutishness and your too fervent zeal were not at all cited as a good example. She says her prayers with exactness, but she beats her servants and she pays them no wages. She covers the nudity in her pictures, but she loves the reality. As for me, I undertook your defense against everyone and assured them it was positively nothing but scandal. But the general opinion went against me, as everyone came to the conclusion that you would do well to concern yourself less with the actions of others counsel and not to ascribe it only to the inner promptings of an affection that feels an interest in your welfare. To whatever one may be exposed when they reprove Madame, I did not expect this retort. And by its very sting, I can see that my sincere advice has hurt your feelings. On the contrary, madam, and if we were reasonable people, these mutual counsels would become customary. Can I help it if people refuse to pay you any attentions? If men will fall in love with me and persist in offering me each day those affections of which your heart would wish to see me deprived, I cannot help it. It is not my fault. I leave you the field free and do not prevent you from using whatever charms you have to attract people. How about him? Alas, and do you think that I would trouble myself with this crowd of lovers of which you are so vain? And that it is not very easy to judge at what price they may be attained nowadays? If I were at all envious of your conquest, I dare say that I might manage like other people. Beyond to no restraints, madame, and thus show plainly that one may have lovers if one wishes for them. Well, do have some then, madam, and let us see you try it. Endeavor to please by this extraordinary secret. Let us break off this conversation, madame, before it excites both too much your temper and mine. Don't hurry yourself on that account, madam. Rather than wearying you any longer with my presence, I shall supply you with more pleasant company. This gentleman comes most opportunely and will better supply my place in entertaining you. Alsace, I have a few letters to write, which I cannot well delay. Please to stay with this lady, and she will all the more easily excuse my rudeness.
Yes.
You see, I am left here to entertain you.
Yep.
She could hardly have devised a more charming treat for me than such a conversation. A great deal is made of yours in certain places, and I can tell you that no later than yesterday you were highly spoken of in 2 distinguished circles.
Yes, madam, well, everyone is praised nowadays. Even my valet was in the Gazette.
Yes, but I cannot help but grieve for your amours. And to tell you my opinions candidly on that head, I could heartily wish your affections better bestowed. You certainly deserve a far happier fate, and she who has fascinated you is unworthy of you.
Yes. Remember in saying so, madam, that lady is your friend, so...
True. But my conscience revolts at suffering any longer the wrong that is done to you.
Well, that is certainly showing me a good deal of feeling, and such information is very welcome to a lover.
Yes, Frau Selmin is my friend, but I do not hesitate in calling her unworthy of possessing the heart of a man of honor.
Yes, that may be so, madam. But one cannot look into a heart, and you might have refrained from awakening a suspicion such as mine.
Nothing is easier than to say no more of it if you do not wish to be undeceived.
And yet, madam, what can be said clearly is not half as annoying as little hints thrown out that her heart might not be good for mine. And I, for one, madam, would prefer it be said plainly that which can be said plainly. So, say it.
Very well. That is sufficient. I can fully enlighten you upon this subject.
Go on.
I will have you believe nothing more than what your own eyes see. Only have the kindness to escort me as far as my house, and I will give you undeniable proof of the faithlessness of your fair one's heart.
Right.
No, never have I seen so obstinate a mind. In vain was Alceste tried on all sides, yet still he maintained his opinion. No, gentlemen, exclaimed he, I will not retract. I will agree with you on every point, but not on this one. A man may be a perfect gentleman, but write bad verses. At what is Orant offended, he asked. I hold him to be a gallant man in every regard, but he is a wretched author. In short, the only modification that they could, with difficulty, obtain from him was for Alceste to say, in what he thought a more milder tone, I'm sorry, sir, that I am so difficult to please, and it is with regard for you that I wish, from the bottom of my heart, that I found your sonnet to be a little bit better. And the court encouraged them to settle the matter quickly with an embrace.
He is rather eccentric in his doings, but I must confess I think a great deal of him, and the candor upon which he prides himself has something noble and heroic about it.
As for me, the more I see of him, the more I am amazed that, with the disposition that he has taken it into his head to love at all. And still less I understand how it comes to be your cousin, who is the person to whom his feelings are inclined.
That just shows that love is not always produced by a compatibility of tempers.
That's true, Elian, but do you believe him beloved in return?
That is the question not so easily answered. How can we know whether it's true that she loves if her own heart's not sure of how it feels?
I think our friend will have more trouble with this cousin of yours than he imagines. We should, madam, see him profit from the kind feelings which your heart evinces for him.
As for me, I don't mince matters, and I don't run counter to his tender feelings. On the contrary, I sympathize with them. And, if it were up to me, I would do everything in my power to unite him to the object of his affections. But, if these affections were to receive a check, I could easily be prevailed upon to listen to his addresses.
Nor do I, from my side, oppose myself, madam, to the kind feelings which your heart entertains for him. But, if, by the union of those two, you are prevented from accepting his attentions, all mine would endeavor to win the great favor which your kind feelings offer to him. Only too happy, madam, to have those feelings transferred to myself, if your heart could not respond to his.
You're jesting.
Not at all. I'm speaking my innermost feelings. I only await a more opportune moment to offer myself to you openly.
Oh, madam! Obtain me justice!
What ails you? What disturbs you?
This much ails me, that nothing more than the upending of all creation would bother me more than this.
Just endeavor to be...
Oh, just heaven!
Once again, what can have the occasion to...
This much ails me. Celimen deceives me and is faithless.
Have you just grounds for believing so?
Perhaps it is a suspicion rashly conceived.
Death, sir, please, mind your own business. Her treachery is all too evident. I have in my pocket a note intended for Orant, who, of all my rivals, I feared the least.
A letter may deceive on appearance.
Once more, sir, please, mind your own business.
You should really moderate your passion and the insult.
You must be left to do this. Yes, it is to you, today, that my heart has recourse to free itself from this goading pain. Yes, avenge me, madam. Avenge me for an act that should fill you with horror.
I avenge you? How?
By accepting my heart. I shall punish her by the undying love and the sincere attachment that I shall henceforth offer up unto your shrine. Yes.
Sir, I certainly sympathize with your suffering and don't despise your proffered heart.
Good.
However, perhaps the wrong done may not be so great as we think, and this guilty charmer, my cousin, might significantly be proven innocent.
No. This, the offense, it is far too cruel. Oh, she approaches. My anger increases. Go, madam. Go. And I shall bring you a heart unencumbered by her deceitful attractions. Grant heaven that I may control my temper.
What is this trouble I see you in, and what means these looks which you cast in me.
That neither fate, nor hell, nor heaven in all its wrath ever produced a creature as perfidious as you.
Certainly these are pretty compliments, and I admire them very much.
Do not jest. This is no time for jesting. I have undeniable proof of your treachery. I am angry. I am mad with rage, and I cannot be held accountable for what I might do.
Whence comes, I pray, such a passion?
It came when, by my misfortune, I looked upon you and thus took the poison that is now slowly killing me.
Of what poison have you to complain?
Cast your eyes here and recognize your handwriting. This picked up note cannot be easily refuted.
And this note is the cause of your perturbation of spirits?
Ooh, how double-faced she is. You do not blush at regarding this note, madam?
And why should I blush?
And you will disown it because it bears no name?
Why should I disown it, since I wrote it?
And you can look at it and still be confused of the guilt of which its style accuses you?
You are indeed a very eccentric man.
This tender epistle? This love note so full of tenderness for a runt?
A rot? I told you this letter is for him.
The people who put it in my hand this very day, but even suppose it is not for him. Does that make me less angry? Does that make you less guilty towards me?
And if it is a woman to whom this letter is addressed, what is there culpable in it, and how can it hurt you?
The excuse is excellent. This prevarication is ingenious. I did not expect this. Do you think me entirely devoid of common sense? How can everything in this note be reconciled as if for a woman? Reconcile, if you will, what I am about to read.
It does not suit me to do so,
No.
and I think it ridiculous that you take
No.
so much.
No, without flying into a rage, take care to explain this little phrase.
I shall
Dear
do nothing of the kind. It matters to me very little what you think.
Madam, take care to explain that this note is meant for a woman, and I shall take care to believe you so. This
Not
phrase...
at all. It is for a runt, and I shall have you believe it. I gladly accept all of his attentions. I like him. I admire him. I shall agree to whatever you please. Now, do not harass me any longer.
Was ever a heart so cruelly treated? I come to complain, and I am quarreled with instead. Perfidious woman! You know fine well how to take advantage of the weird, strange attachment that your treacherous looks have inspired in my heart. Well, madam, please, just this once, either stop pretending to be guilty, or endeavor to, at the very least, appear faithful, and I shall pretend that I believe you.
Bah! You are driven mad by your jealous frenzies, and you do not deserve the love I have for you. Be gone. Such suspicions deserve my anger, and you're not worthy of being cared for. I'm silly, and I'm vexed at my own simplicity in still preserving the least kindness for you. I ought to place my affections elsewhere.
You,
And give you just cause for complaint.
you are a traitress, and mine is a strange infatuation for you.
No, you do not love me as you ought to love.
Indeed, madam, nothing compares to my undying love. Oh yes, I wish that you were miserable. Yes. Oh, I wish that you had nothing. Oh yes, I wish that you were ugly, and that no other admirers beset you, and that I had the undying pleasure of knowing that you owed everything to me.
This is wishing me well in a strange way. Heaven grant that you may never have the occasion.
No. My mind is made up.
But whatever the blow may be, does it compel you?
You may talk and argue till doomsday, if you like, but nothing can avert the things that I have said. The age that we live in is too perverse, and I will get myself into 1,000 scrapes. Let us leave this fountain, this house, this cutthroat hole, and since men behave towards each other like real wolves, wretches, you shall never see me again as long as I live.
I think you are acting somewhat hastily, and the harm done is not so great as you would make it out.
No, I wish to go down in posterity as a signal proof, as a notorious testimony of the wickedness of men of our age.
But after all,
Sir, your troubles are thrown away. What would you say to my head? Would you have the audacity to say to my face to excuse all that is being done to me?
No, I agree in all that you say.
Good.
It's true. It is only trickery that carries the day in our time.
Yes.
And people ought to act differently.
Yes,
towards
they
one
should.
another. But is there want of equity reason for wishing to withdraw from their society? All human failings give us, in life, a means for expressing our philosophy.
I know you're a very fluent speaker, sir, and that you're always full of good ideas, but you're wasting your time. Reason tells me to retire for my own good. I cannot be held accountable for the words that come out of my mouth, and I will get myself into 1,000 million scrapes. Therefore, leave me here to await Seligman. She must agree to a design that I have formed. We shall soon see whether her heart has any love left for me.
Come, let us go to meet Eliant, who awaits.
No, you go. My mind is too harassed. Leave me here in this dark corner with my black cat.
That seems a strange company to leave you in. I will induce Eliant to come and join us.
Go do that then, sir.
It remains for you to consider whether, by ties so dear, you will make me wholly yours or not. I must be absolutely certain of your affection, and the proof of which I ask is not allow Alsace to call upon you any longer. To sacrifice him for my love, and in short, to banish him from your house this very day.
Why are you so incensed against him? You whom I've so often heard speak of his merits.
There is no need, madame, please, but to choose between the one or the other.
Yes! Madam, this gentleman is right, and his request agrees perfectly with mine. The time has come for you to declare yourself. Madam, choose either for him or for me.
I have no wish, sir, with an untimely affection, to disturb your good fortune.
Well, I have no wish, sir, jealous or not jealous, to share aught in her heart with you.
If she prefers your affection to mine,
If she shows the slightest inclination towards you,
I swear henceforth not to pretend to it any longer.
and I preemptively swear never to speak to her ever again.
Madame, it remains with you now to speak openly.
Madam, you can declare yourself fearlessly.
Good heavens! How out of place is this persistence, and how unreasonable you both show yourselves. I think that disobliging words ought not to be spoken in people's presence. That a heart can give sufficient proof of its attachment without going so far as to break with everyone, and that gentler intimations suffice to inform a lover of the ill success of his suit.
No. I do not fear a frank avowal. For my part, I consent to it.
And I demand it. All of the silence and your refusal to give us an answer, and I will take it as confirmation of the worst.
I thank you for this wrath, kind sir, and I say in every respect as he does.
How you weary me with such a whim. Is there any justice in what you ask? I will be judged by my cousin Eliant, who is coming. Good cousin. I am being persecuted here by people who have concerted to do so. They both demand, with equal warmth, that I declare for whom my heart has chosen. Say, has ever such a thing been done?
Pray, don't consult me on such a matter, for in these situations I'm decidedly for those who speak their mind.
There is no use for you to decline, madame.
All your evasions will be badly supported.
I declare just but one word to end our discussion.
And to me, your silence will speak volumes.
I have come by your leave, madam, to clear up a certain little matter with you. Your presence happens here for gentlemen, for this affair concerns you as well.
No doubt you're all surprised to see me here. But my intrusion is due to these two gentlemen. They both came to see me today complaining of a proceeding which I could not have credited. And I have been induced to accompany them here to hear you refute this slander.
Yes, madam. Let us see, with composure, how you'll manage to bear this out. Yes? This letter has been written by you to me. And this tender epistle has been written by another Marquis named Acoste. Her writing is not altogether unfamiliar to you, gentlemen, and I have no doubt that her kindness has before now made you very familiar with her hand. But this is well worth the trouble of reading, yes? You are a strange man to condemn my liveliness of spirits, and to reproach me that I am never so merry as when I'm not with you. Nothing can be more unjust. And if you do not come very soon, I shall never forgive you as long as I live. Our great hulking booby of a viscount. He ought to have been here as well, Our great hulking booby of a viscount, with whom you begin your complaints, is a man who would not at all suit me. And ever since I watched him for a full 3/4 of an hour, spitting into a well to make suckers in the water, I never could have a good opinion of him. As to the little Marquis, that, ladies and gentlemen, is myself, be it said without the slightest of vanity. As to the little Marquis, who is the last man for whom I could feel any affection. He must be crazed in persuading himself that I love him. And you too, in believing I do not love you. As to the man with the red cravat, this is your share, sir. Yes? As to the man with the red cravat, he amuses me sometimes with his bluntness and his splenetic behavior. But there are hundreds of times I find him the greatest bore in the world. Yes. As to the man with the raven locks, this is your share, sir. As to the man with the raven locks, who has set fit to set himself up as a wit, and wishes to be an author in spite of everyone. I cannot even take the trouble to listen to what he says. And his prose bores me just as much as his poetry. Well, this is the lovely model of a character, madame. And I need not tell you what to call it. It is enough. I deem you beneath my anger. And I will show you that little marquise can find worthier hearts than yours to sow themselves.
Am I to be torn into pieces in this fashion? After everything that you have written me? I have been far too great a dupe, but I shall be so no longer. You have done me a service in showing your true colors to me, and I find myself restored with the heart you thus restore to me, and find my revenge in your loss. I shall no longer be an obstacle to your flame, sir. Good day.
This is certainly one of the basest actions which I have ever seen. This gentleman, this man who has staked the whole of his happiness on you, this honorable and deserving man, ought he to have been...
Madam, do not trouble yourself unnecessarily, and do not trouble yourself with my affairs. And rest assured that if I were to ask for someone to trouble themselves with my affairs, it would not be you.
Alas, and do you imagine that I ever harbored such a thought? And that I'm so very anxious to secure you? You must be very vain indeed. Sentiments, leavings are a commodity of which no one need be so very much enamored. And if I were at all envious, I dare say that I could manage to find somebody far better. People like me are not for such as you, and you would do far better to remain dangling after her skirts, and I, for one, long to see so beautiful a match.
Well then, madam, I have held my tongue, notwithstanding all that I have seen. Have I held it now long enough? And will you now?
Yes, you may say what you please. You are justified when you complain, and you may reproach me however you wish. I confess that I am in the wrong, and overwhelmed by confusion, I do not seek by any idle excuse to palliate my guilt. The anger of the others I've despised, but I confess my guilt towards you. You have cause to hate me. Do so. I consent to it.
But can I do so? You traitor. Can I thus just get the better of my undying love for you? And though I wish to hate you, I wish it. Will I find a heart quite ready to agree with me? Yes, I hold you all as witnesses of my unworthy infatuation. Madam, it may be possible for me to forgive you if you are to second a design that I have formed of avoiding all human contact. And if you are to follow me without delay into a solitude of which I have made a vow to pass my days, it may be possible for me to forgive you just a little bit, and it may be possible for you to repair the harm done by your letters. That is what everyone agrees.
What? Renounce the world before I grow old and bury myself in your wilderness?
Madam, if your heart responds to mine, what need the rest of the world signify to you? Am I not enough for you?
Solitude is frightful to a woman of 20. I do not feel my mind sufficiently grand and strong enough to resolve to adopt such a plan. But if we were to stay here in Paris, and if the gift of my hand can satisfy you, I might be induced to tie such bonds and marriage.
Yes, no! My heart loathes you now. And this refusal affects more than all of the rest put together. Since you are not inclined, I refuse your offer. And this much felt outrage frees me forever from your unworthy toils. Madam. Your beauty is adorned by 100 virtues, and I never saw anything in you but what was sincere. Now, for a long time I've thought very highly of you. However, the problem is I feel that I'm not worthy. And I also feel that heaven did not intend for me the marriage bond. Therefore, I think
Sir, you may pursue this thought. However, I'm not at all embarrassed with my hand. And here's your friend who, without giving me much trouble, might possibly accept it if I offered.
Oh, madam, I can think of no greater wish. I would sacrifice my life and soul for it.
Yes, may you, to taste true contentment, preserve forever these feelings towards one another. Whereas I, deceived on all sides, overwhelmed with injustice, I shall seek out some secluded nook on earth where one may enjoy the freedom of being an honest man.
Come, madam, let us leave nothing untried to deter him from this wild design.